Om Shanti. How are you? So, when I was in my college days, my friend uh, once said to me, because I was an atheist back then, I used to make fun of faith in God continuously. So, he once said to me that this universe is so big that even this earth is just a point. So, just think how insignificant you are compared to the universe. So, why do you have this much arrogance when you are nothing in front of this universe? Recently, one famous Tamil actor, Arvind Swamy, also said he was the main star in the pan India movie Roja, Bombay. So, he, in, an, in a recent interview, said that the same thing. Universe is so big, there are many galaxies. So compared to that, even Earth is insignificant. So this universe even doesn't know that we exist. So what's the need for having arrogance that I'm a big actor, big engineer, big businessman? So when you remember this, your arrogance will be shattered to pieces. So my friend, he believes in God. Arvind Swamy, based on his interview, I assume that he doesn't believe in God. But they quote the same example to bring the same message that there's no point in being arrogant when we are nothing in front of the universe. But there is no need for us to compare ourselves with the universe to make sure that we are just a point. Because in reality, we are in fact points. Yes, you don't have to compare with the universe. You are a point of light. That's so tiny that you can't see it with your naked eye or with any hi-fi scientific equipment. So tiny we are. By we, I mean the soul that exists as a point of light in between the eyebrows, which is why we apply tilak in between the eyebrows. So it is the soul that sees through the eyes, speaks through the mouth, listens through the ear, performs all activities using this body. So it is not the body that operates on its own. The operator of this body is the soul. And we are souls and not this body. So this is the truth. No need to compare with the universe to make you insignificant, because we are so tiny doesn't mean we are insignificant. That's the fact that we are a point of light. That's it. Because we become arrogant due to many reasons, like having a beautiful body, healthy body, or very intelligent, very talented. So there are many reasons for which we become arrogant. But one thing we forget at that point of time is our source of arrogance is not imperishable. It will perish over time. Be it your beauty, your health, your wealth, your fame, everything will fade over a period of time. So we just cling on to something that's very temporary and you identify yourself with it and you become arrogant. You become arrogant towards others and start committing sinful acts, start hurting others. But when your source of arrogance is taken away from you, for example, if your hand and leg they are paralyzed, you will instantly feel a ping that makes you realize that your arrogance was such a huge mistake. Maybe because you now have to depend on someone whom you hurt previously due to your arrogance. So God says, instead of having to wait for such things to happen, why can't you stop being arrogant by considering yourself as someone without a healthy body? Without a body, because you are not this body. When you consider yourself to be a soul without a body, you got no reason to have arrogance, right? Because all souls look the same. So your soul is not going to be bigger or smaller than my soul just because you are younger or elder than me. Because souls don't grow in size. Even the Supreme Soul, God, is also as tiny as any soul. So we don't have any reason to be arrogant. And also, not only arrogance, we will not have vices like lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego when we do not have a body. But instead of waiting to lose your body, why can't you already consider yourself bodiless? Consider yourself as a bodiless soul. So that's the core teaching of God through Brahma Kumaris. You are not this perishable body, but an imperishable soul that shines between the eyebrows. When you consider yourself to be a soul, when your focus is always on yourself, that is the soul, you will find yourself blissful and peaceful all the time, because that is the true nature of soul. Just because we become body conscious, we can no longer remain peaceful and blissful forever. So we start depending on external things for getting peace and happiness. So that's like that for the past 2500 years when this world is hell. But before that, this world was heaven when we were fully soul conscious. That's when we would be always blissful, because we would consider ourselves to be souls and we would interact with each other with soul conscious thought. So we would consider each other as souls. So how can we have lust for each other when we just see the soul instead of the body. So, lust is the greatest enemy. That enemy was not there in heaven for the first 2500 years because we were soul conscious. But after 2500 years, slowly our concentration gets distracted and we start getting attracted to the external world. And we can no longer be soul conscious. That's when we become addicted to sensual pleasures and five vices such as lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego. So, under the influence of these vices, we start committing sinful acts because of which we are punished with several diseases, natural calamities, conflicts within the family, and war between nations. So, just 100 years before the destruction of this world Kali Yuga, God Himself comes from His supreme abode, enters an old man's body, and He names him Brahma, start giving the secret about this 5000-year time cycle called Kalpa. Just like the 24-hour time cycle where day and night alternate constantly, heaven and hell also alternate constantly. Heaven automatically becomes hell, but it doesn't become heaven automatically. That's why God comes and He makes us as pure as we were when we were in heaven. So when we become pure, that is by becoming completely viceless, this world will become heaven. That's the reason the world gets destroyed, because it's a means of the world renewal. So we don't have that strength to become soul conscious on our own. That's why God gives His own introduction, saying that He is also a point of light, just like us. But He resides in the golden red colored light world called Parandam or Parlok. So the more we remember God as a point of light, like a star shining in the golden red colored sky, our souls will be filled with the power of purity. So when we become that pure, we will be filled with the divine qualities. Obviously, we will also have to read Murlis, which is the direct knowledge of God given through the old man's body, and he names that old man as Brahma. So the essence of the teaching is to consider ourselves to be soul and to remember God as a point of light as much as possible. That's it. It's very simple. But of course we are a point of light, but that doesn't mean that we are insignificant, because it is by being body conscious that we have lost everything God gave us in the beginning. So it is by becoming soul conscious again that we are going to regain everything that we have lost over the past 5000 years. So even God is a point of light. The only difference is we enter this birth and death cycle, which means we take birth through a mother's womb, but God never takes birth in a mother's womb. He always stays as a point of light, which is why he is worshipped in the form of Shivling, that is the point of light. So the difference between God and we souls is not in the appearance. We both look similar. But God always stays pure. But we were pure in the beginning of heaven, but after taking several rebirths, we slowly loses our power of purity and become contaminated with five vices towards the end of this time cycle. That's when God comes and makes us pure again by teaching us this Raj Yoga secret, that is to consider ourselves to be soul and to remember God as a point of light as much as possible. So there's a great power in being soul conscious, because the more we remember God, our soul will be filled with the power of purity, which enables soul to no longer get distracted by the external surroundings, but being focused within itself. That's when we start experiencing blissfulness and peacefulness that we experienced in the beginning. We didn't depend on the external things to become happy, because if we depend on the external things, that will definitely deceive you. So that's why that is called the short lived pleasure or temporary pleasure. But the pleasure that we experience from within, that's constant, permanent. So it is because we are able to experience pleasure from within our soul that heaven continues to be heaven for the first 2500 years. It is when we become body conscious that the heaven gets converted to hell, the place we start experiencing sorrow. But that was not the case for the first 2500 years. And now, when you no longer get distracted by external things, or when we no longer get attracted by anything or anybody, that's when you become attractive. Everybody gets attracted to you. That's the power of purity. That's the reason people get attracted to God. So God makes us similar to himself. So it is by getting rid of all the attractions that you yourselves become attractive. You can make anything happen. That's the reason in heaven they do not know what sex is, although they are very beautiful, because they are filled with the power of purity. So the childbirth happens by the husband and wife having the thought of having a baby, and they do nothing more. Nothing physical ever happens between any man or women for the first 2500 years. They were so pure, like God. That's the reason they were worshipped as deities by Hindus till date. And now God says it is you and me, who were souls, who were deities in the beginning. And it is now time to become deity again. For that, the only effort is to consider ourselves to be soul and to remember God as a point of light as much as possible. No matter what you do, just remind yourself that you are the soul that performs so and so action through this body. That's how you become soul conscious, you become so attractive, and you are able to make anything happen. Every single thought of yours will be successful. Just thought is enough to convert this whole world into heaven. So that happens when you no longer get attracted to the external world. That's why you have to remember God as much as possible. So if even the childbirth happens with the power of your thought, what else cannot be possible? Everything is possible. So, to become very powerful, just like God, try to be like God. That is, get rid of body consciousness. God doesn't have body consciousness. That's the reason He is powerful all the time. And now it's time for us to become like our beloved Father, God. He is called God Shiva by Hindus, Heavenly Godfather by Christians, Allah by Muslims. God is just one. So, in addition to remember God as a point of light, also we need to read Murli, the direct knowledge of God given through Brahma Kumaris. So, we will be giving the links of the websites and YouTubes that provides the Murli of Brahma Kumaris. You can also get it from your local Brahma Kumaris Rajog meditation centers. So you can find Murlis in all languages. You can Google it yourself. Om Shanti. Thanks for watching. Being a point is the most powerful thing that's going to enable you to attain that you have lost over the past 5,000 years. So being body conscious makes you arrogant, makes you lose everything. So the power lies in considering yourself to be a point of light, not by considering yourself to be a beautiful body, healthy body, gigantic body. No, that will make you lose. Om Shanti. Thanks for watching.